Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. Rated PG-13.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel released a bunch more Fantastic Four trailer footage, so we'll break it all down. And while I was actually working on this video, it was just revealed that Julian McMahon passed away recently from a battle with cancer that he'd been fighting for the past year. You might remember him as Dr. Doom from the original Fantastic Four movies back in the early 2000s. Most of the rest of that original Fantastic Four cast have since come out to honor him publicly in some way. If you haven't seen any of his non-Marvel stuff, he was just a fantastic actor just in general. I am sure that Kevin Feige would have tried to bring him back during Avengers Secret Wars or one of these upcoming Avengers movies if he would have been able to do that, but it just sounds like he'd been in poor health for a long time when they did announce that he had passed away. What they might do is actually give him an honorific during the actual Fantastic Four movie credits, the same way that they'll probably do for Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. But in happier news, I know there are a lot of questions about what's going on with this new movie and how this is going to feed into Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars because of the way they've changed the order of the movies coming out in the next couple of years.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Really hoping because they're rolling so hard on mutants and X-Men characters after Avengers Secret Wars in Marvel Phase 7, they actually rely more on Franklin Richards' history as a mutant in the comics. If you're brand new to the channel, we're doing the giveaway for tickets for the movie. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and is post all your predictions about what you want them to do with Franklin Richards and the other Fantastic Four characters in the movies after Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. I know there's a lot of questions about the big twists of this movie too and how they address that with Galactus showing up trying to get his hands on Franklin Richards so that he can use his power. We'll get into that because it's a lot of the same way that the Star Wars Mandalorian deals with Grogu and his level of powers. Like, based on their level of development physically and mentally, what are they actually capable of? The Star Wars Mandalorian universe deals with it in a slightly different way they're going to in the MCU, because at least in the MCU, Franklin Richards is an actual tiny baby both in mind and in body, whereas in the Star Wars universe, Grogu looks like a tiny baby, but he's actually over 50 years old, so mentally he has way more acuity than an actual human tiny baby. So there'll be a couple ways that they'll explain Franklin Richards' power and how he's able to wield it during this movie as a little tiny baby. But starting with the brand new footage, the way they play this, there's a longer clip of them having their family Sunday dinner on a random Sunday night before Silver Surfer has shown up with Galactus to actually herald the end of their world. And it's basically the story of how Sue Storm winds up telling the rest of the team here, Johnny, her younger brother, and Ben Grimm, that she's pregnant with Franklin Richards. Like, oh yeah, I'm late because I'm gonna have a baby. That's the big joke here too, is that Johnny is too dumb to figure it out. Like, you're late for dinner. There are a couple other details in the background here too. When Johnny Storm sits down trying to eat the Lucky Charms, on the back there's actually a drawing from a Fantastic Four cover, like an actual cover in real life from the 1960s. They actually baked a lot of the actual real-life classic comics into this movie. So the way they explain is that when the movie picks up, the Fantastic Four have had their powers for the past 4 years. That's how long ago their origin story was when they had the cosmic storm that gave them their origin story. So the whole idea is that in that 4 years, they've actually faced a lot of their classic villains already. Like, they've confirmed that Mole Man is a character in the movie. Subterranea is actually a big thing. They released a trailer a little while ago with a lot of characters that confirmed that too. But part of the idea is they released some in-universe tie-in promos where Sue Storm, at some point in the past 4 years, after they faced Mole Man and all of his other villains, she conducted peace talks between Subterranea and the surface world. So technically, Mole Man isn't their villain anymore. He's just like another ally who's frenemies with them. Part of the idea was stuff like that, like them having already faced a lot of their villains and defeated a lot of these big challenges, a lot of these big fights, is that when Galactus shows up to Earth with Silver Surfer threatening to destroy it, to consume it, they've already faced so many threats and solved so many problems. It's sort of like them being 3 Avengers movies deep, so the world, just in general, expects them to be able to solve any problem that comes along. Like, oh, you've solved all these other problems, you defeated all these other villains, you've fixed the world, basically. You can fix this new problem. But how do you fix a problem like Galactus? Well, the real answer is that you don't. This is not a problem that will be fixed with the power of friendship. You get a little of the witty banter between the family just to get some of their energy, like Johnny Storm making fun of Reed Richards about being a new father. They really, really want them to feel like an actual family. Like, that's why Doctor Doom isn't as big of a character during this movie, so they can spend more time focusing on them as a family unit, just to sort of build that heading into Avengers Doomsday. And they can also handle Galactus and Silver Surfer without completely sidelining a bunch of the other characters. Like, at a certain point, there become too many characters. That's why Matt Shakman said that he didn't want to deal with Doctor Doom in the main part of the movie. I think we'll also just see him in the post-credit scene with Robert Downey Jr.'s version.
New mask. Same task.
Another big reason for that, too, is the way that Marvel is doing actual Doctor Doom. They want to put so much focus on Robert Downey Jr.'s version, but it actually seems like what happens here is they have this scene of the family having dinner, then Sue Storm telling them that she's pregnant when you actually see Silver Surfer and Galactus show up in the sky. Like, there's fire in the sky, Silver shows up to herald Galactus, then they start to figure out what's going on. Reed Richards starts doing all of his calculations. They learn about planets disappearing in the night sky, like stars disappearing. So they go looking for Galactus, and that's where they find Silver Surfer and his world ship Todd 2 consuming this other world. Like, he's basically destroying this other world, where they freak out, and then she chases them through the black hole. Just because when Silver Surfer first shows up to Earth, Sue Storm is still very pregnant, has not given birth to Franklin yet. And notice how Ben Grimm doesn't have his rock beard yet. So you can actually track the timeline of the movie itself from the trailer footage based on the status of Rock Beard. It's sort of like Beard Watch. When they go to see Galactus up close for the first time, you see his world ship, you see him transform, consume this world. Notice as they're escaping, Ben Grimm does not have the rock beard. Like, he says, "Ben, get us out of here. No rock beard." Then there's the footage of them flying through the black hole with Silver Surfer trying to steal Franklin Richards as Sue Storm is in the middle of giving birth to him while they're piloting through the black hole. You can actually see the effects of space warping around the back of them here. My assumption is it's just Reed Richards has built this kind of engine into the Fantastic Four ship, which allows them to cross through black holes, which is also how they cross universes at the end of the movie into the MCU. But here's the thing, when they escape Galactus over in this part of space and make it back to Earth, you notice in all the fight scenes where they're fighting Galactus in New York City, Ben Grimm has the rock beard. So it seems like at some point in this escape, when they're in the black hole, that's when he gets his rock beard, and it might have something to do with the big twist from the comics. A lot of people are like, how did he grow the rock beard? Like, how did this come about? I think the idea is there might be some time dilation effects that happen inside the black hole where he ages and the rest of the family does not. There've been a couple twists in the comics where they basically explained that Ben Grimm can live much longer than the rest of the family based on things that have been done to him in the way that his powers work. So everyone just post all your reactions about that in the comments below. It just feels like the most logical way of explaining the rock beard showing up after they've seen Galactus for the first time. Like, all of a sudden, he comes back to Earth and he has the rock beard out of nowhere.
Say it! I don't wanna!
What they could also do is also use this twist, this time dilation effect, to explain how they age Franklin Richards up a little bit faster. Although, if you think about in real life, even if a couple months go by, little kids like babies, they grow very, very fast. So by the time we get to Avengers Doomsday, even if they don't find some clever way of explaining Franklin Richards aging up faster than normal, he would still be much bigger by the time Avengers Doomsday picks up. When it actually comes to explaining his powers and why doesn't Franklin Richards just get rid of Galactus himself if he's so powerful, part of the idea, I think, is that because he's a tiny baby, like he's a newborn, he doesn't really understand how to use his powers and they're not in control. So if he does wind up using his powers in some unexpected way during the movie, it'll just be like baby doing something automatically, like his body automatically acting to survive. So that's kind of Franklin Richards as a newborn, glass cannon, super powerful, but super squishy and needs to be protected. There have been a lot of rumors about the way Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars are going to handle Franklin Richards' powers. We will see. We won't have to wait too long to actually find that out. But everyone post all your reactions in the comments below. If there's any footage or anything I didn't talk about in this video or my previous videos, write them in the comments below. The other big reminder is that the Superman movie is coming out this week. My review for that is allowed to post tomorrow, so that'll be my next big video. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that, and go see this movie as soon as possible. There's a lot to talk about. And then my full breakdown, Easter eggs, my post-credit scene video will all post later this week after the movie actually comes out. Everybody click here for that Superman review. I'll update the link as soon as I post that, and click here for all my other Fantastic Four videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.